Ash, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into this one.
Yeah,
one of our first, I'd say, real ecom brands that we get to delve into, but also just understand your journey as well. Mm-hmm. So I'll kick it off in a fairly similar way to I have done with any logistics supply chain guest. At what point were you at when you realised you were going to be a major business leader, and where were you at in life?
If I'm honest, I don't think that ever came to me until a point where I found a position that needed fixing. So for myself, having had managers in the past that weren't the greatest, it made me very much want to be someone different, and that would be supporting the team and that side of things. So even now, 90% of what I do is like nurture the team, make sure that the team feel like they're supported in things that they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't want them to like burn out every day. There's no point in that for me. For me, seeing people work hard is them having fun and coming to work and wanting to come back the next day. If the work gets done, we're in a great position. I think overall, when you have the past of like looking over managers and they're on your shoulder asking you why you've done X, Y, and Z, but you're doing it for the best of the brand or the best of the company, then it's a different bit harder to chew almost.
Yeah.
So I don't think that time really came until probably about 5 years ago, where I were in a position where I could see things that I could benefit, and I had a team around me that loved what they did. Mm-hmm. And they just wanted to do better for everyone involved. I think overall, as any company and any business, if you nurture a team, they will work harder for you.
Yeah.
I think that's forgotten a lot of the time, if I'm honest.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's almost come from experience of almost bad management by the sounds of things.
For sure.
To where.
For sure. I think especially in like, and my background prior to what I'm doing now was either in retail or I worked for the police for a period of time doing like eCommerce, online learning training.
Okay.
And the level of like steps that you have to go through just to go to the toilet is just not acceptable in not even in the current day and age, but even back then, which was like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like there's just no need to be like that.
Yeah.
We're all adults. We've left school and we should be treated in a way that allows us to get on with our days and do the best of things. So, yeah, I think for me, seeing how people treat me at 21-year-old, 22-year-old is exactly where I'm not making them the same mistakes as what made them.
And so how long would you say, or when did it start for you for leadership? When were you first in your management position?
Interestingly, I actually started in leadership probably 15 years ago whilst I worked at a skate park.
Right.
In terms of there were only ever 2 people working at a time, and we were teaching people how to skate at the time as well.
Yeah.
So way back then, it kind of had to be one of those where it was like, well, I'm going to take the reins and do something because otherwise it's not going to get done. And the idea of something not getting done would then negatively affect the next day.
Yeah.
I was probably like 17, 18 at the time.
Oh, right.
But even back then, I wanted to know how all of the business worked, not just the bit that I was working in.
Yeah.
I'm very much like, I'm nosy in that sense. I want to know like the ins and outs of like, okay, so you bought that, how much did you buy that for, and how much are you going to sell it for, and why are you going to do that? So starting to get an understanding at like 17, 18 of retail and sales in a skate shop was very strange. But I would work with people that didn't care about that side of it. They just went to work and did their job and went home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I think the leadership side of my head always started when I was younger.
Yeah.
I didn't always do the leadership side of it. I very much at one point when I just want a job where I don't have to think and I can go to work and come home every day. Which that was hard because I almost felt like I knew I was doing too much and got a little bit big for my boots in some capacity. But as long as the job was always done, I knew that I was
Happy days.
happy days. Knew what I was doing.
And when you were saying like you got, you had that natural probing sort of mentality to figure out the business sort of stuff, what were the things that you were figuring out within the skate shop? What sort of things did you clock that you were like,
it was little things like, okay, so we're buying, let's say for example, you buy a skateboard from a company and it's £20, but then you're selling that skateboard for £40, but you've got 5 things to add to it. You're losing money at some point and you're not making the money that you should be making.
Yeah.
Which is a hole in every business. We all do it. We still do it to this day.
Yeah.
There's always a hole somewhere and there's always a leak. You have to plug that leak. But you can't plug that leak by opening up something else. And with the skate side of it, it's an industry that is like that. It's everything. Everyone wants something cheaper. No one wants to pay full price for anything. And way back then, it was very much a case of like, okay, so if you're adding grip tape to a skateboard, that's taking £2.50 off your profits. How do you then benefit that to the person that's coming in? So you would give them free, but then your skateboards ended up being like £45 because you had to cover it.
Yeah.
And there were a group of people I worked with that never understood that side of it. It was just like, it's just a piece of grip tape, but someone's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Still the same today. Still the same. Things don't change.
Okay, cool. And then take us into where you went on from the skate retail store to perhaps where you are now.
Yeah. So I left the skate retail area to go work for the police. Yeah. And I went to a place where I was just creating online training videos and just managing their day-to-day kind of like e-learning aspects. Mm-hmm. And it was just more money. It was at a time where it was like, right, okay, like let's get some more money in the bank so I can go on and do stuff. And I did that for probably about 18 months. And it was great to some extent. It was a completely different world to what I'd ever worked in. It was very corporate. You had to wear a shirt and trousers to work every day, which for me was crazy. I think I was 19 at the time. And very much bright-eyed, but it allowed me to do a lot of things because I had the money to do it. So I went traveling a fair bit with skateboarding and stuff. And after 18 months, the person that I'd actually worked at the skate park with, they approached me and said, do you want to open a skate shop in another part of the city? So me and him opened a store. And at that point, I went backwards in terms of like, I weren't earning any money because the shop had to make the money for me to get paid. And I did 18 months in the shop where it was grinding every day. I'd work 7 days a week, get there at 10 a.m. and I'd be leaving at 6:30, 7. But we created a hub. And this hub where people would go. They would buy coffee from me. We had a coffee shop inside the skate shop. Every month we were putting events on. So we had like an exhibition space. And it was very much more than just a shop. Yeah. Like the shop was there day to day, but actually around the edges, we were doing a lot more and just making sure that we were encouraging community. Yeah. I think community is a big thing within retail, which if you're a big corporate company, you don't need that community basis. Yeah. For a smaller community base, for a smaller company, the community is what's going to grow. And when that grows, that's when your business grows. Yeah. So within skateboarding, that kind of happened with the store. We created this little community, and unfortunately, I was in a position where I was just like, I need to get paid. I've got bills to pay, and this isn't doing it. So from that point, I left, and do you remember how much you were getting paid? Oh yeah, it was like £130 a week. Really? Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I was very lucky at the time. I lived with a guy who owned his house, and I was paying £250 a month for all my bills, all my rent and bills and stuff. And I was like in a position where I could justify it because I had like a little bit of income from like people helping me out with skateboarding and stuff like that. So I was okay, but it was hard. Yeah. Going from a job where, I was earning well at the police and then going backwards and almost not earning anything. Yeah. It stopped me being able to travel as much. It stopped me being able to enjoy my time as much. Because how old would you have been now? 21, 22. at the prime of like, should be going out and really enjoying yourself, I was in a position where I was like, right, okay, I got to get up in the morning, I've got to go to work. And I was also at a period where I couldn't enjoy the skateboarding as much because I was in the shop all the time.
Yeah.
It was a one-man band to that extent. So yeah, after that, we closed the store and I went to work in retail. I went to work for Superdry. Again, did about 2 years with Superdry, just shop floor, in like a big shopping centre.
Yeah.
And that was eye-opening as to how unorganised things could be in such a large retailer.
Yeah.
Because again, I got into this being like, I just want to get a job where I don't have to think about it. And after 6 weeks of being there, I was like working a night shift, doing a full shop refit over Christmas because I'd found something that I was like, this isn't working. How can we make this better? The guys there were like real cool. They understood that I had this like passion on the side of like the skateboarding side of it. So I never had to work the Saturday, which was amazing. But I would always do the late shifts. I would always be on the earlies if they needed me.
Yeah.
I worked hard for what I did. And again, they kept me on after Christmas, and I kept for about 2 years. Every Christmas I would do the night shifts. So, it was a little bit better pay, but you weren't doing it for the pay. You were doing it so the next day everyone else had an easier life.
Yeah.
I met some really cool people there, and quite a few of them I still speak to heavily today. Nice. Some work in the building across the road from there. And so I just bump into in the street and still have a great chat. And it's interesting because they're in a position now where they've been at Superdry for so long that they're coming out of the other side with their restructure. Yeah. And I'm kind of helping them a little bit in terms of like, I can navigate do this and do that kind of thing to help you, which has been really cool. Like we had a tight little community between the 10 of us in the store.
Nice. And what was your role when you went into Superdry?
Was it just a sales assistant?
Yeah, just general on the floor sales assistant. Yeah. And like, were you still able to probe and ask maybe the bigger business questions in a Superdry versus a skate retail store?
To some extent. So my manager at that point, when I first started, he was great. He very open about what the store needed to do and what we needed to do to be profitable. And we'd even have like a board on the wall, which was like, this is his target for the day.
Right.
And this is how much we need at the end of the month to kind of like make it viable. Kind of fizzled out after he left, after about 6 months of being there. But they're a huge company, and they were turning over staff and moving staff to different areas or to an area management role. It started to dilute as new people came in because the store was big, but it weren't as big as like your Manchesters and your Londons. Mm-hmm. So as new people came in, they were a little bit more the bad kind of manager that I was talking about in terms of like, no, just do that. Like, just go and do this. And one thing that always blew me away with Superdry was their delivery system.
Right.
They would get 100 boxes over Christmas, and every box would just have 50 random items in it. It's literally like someone's just walked around throwing random things in a box. So you would have to hire someone to deal directly with delivery rather than a box coming in saying, right, this is X t-shirt and you've got 50 of these.
Yeah.
Like, someone had to sift through all these boxes.
Wow.
And I'm aware that it still happens today.
Yeah, like I had a friend who he worked in JD, and it was always like a bit of a thing. If you had to go and tidy the stock room, it was like the worst job on the planet.
Yeah,
because it was apparently carnage, and boxes were everywhere. There was no sortation in the back. But
it's crazy.
You don't think it when you think of these big retailers and big brands. You think
they know everything that they're doing.
Super automated and super well run.
For sure. And that was the first time where I was like, not everyone's got it together.
Yeah.
Not everyone is doing it perfectly. And it made me a little bit more like, okay, it's fine to do things how you think it should be done. Like I say, it was a great experience working there for many reasons. It was retail, but it was like I worked at the stock room a lot of the time, which was that job that you're talking about, reorganizing the storeroom.
Yeah.
It was chaos, but chaos quickly turned into like manageable states, because you would be like, right, okay, well, I'm going to redo this section so I know exactly where that is.
Yeah.
So you get something over the radio, which is like, oh, I need this t-shirt. And it's like, you don't even need to go to the system. You know where it is because you've almost built it.
Yeah.
You've built where things are going. You've got new stock coming in. You know exactly where that new stock's going to go before it's even arrived. And I remember we did a launch for, it was like Super Dry's Idris Elba collection.
Right.
And we got told that it was coming. We got told that it was 12 lines, but we didn't know how much was coming. They could never tell you how many boxes were coming prior to it turning up. And we got this section of the warehouse that was basically just like every time something came back from the shop floor, you just throw it in a corner. Once a week, someone would have to go through it. I think it was always a Sunday afternoon when things had quieted down. They'd all just start folding it down. But we basically had to clear this entire space out. And I remember these boxes coming in and a brand new collection, but everything was mixed up and everything was just a mess. And you had to take everything out of plastic, put your neck tags in properly, and then security badge it. And it's like, this is chaos. And
borderline torture.
Poor shop. Yeah, exactly that. But you kind of sat there thinking to yourself, well, if this were my business, that would be coming in that way. And this would be such an easier process. And I probably won't have to pay 2 members of staff to do this every day. But I think as you grow, you kind of lose sight of the operations because everything is just like creatively driven.
Mm-hmm.
So they were putting all this money into the shop floor and all this stuff into like new signage. But every stockroom that I went in, which was like, I went to Sheffield's, obviously, I went to Manchester, Arndale, I went to the Trafford Centre one, I went to Newcastle. Every storeroom was the same. It was just chaos.
Yeah.
It's like, I think operations always comes last for a lot of people.
Yeah, as long as it looks pretty on the outside.
Yeah. And realistically, operations, it starts before it's even entered the building to that side of things. So it's, even back then I was very much like, can't ask the questions and I can't change anything, but I'm aware of what I would change.
And like, what do you think that comes down to? Your where do you think you get that curiosity from, or that programming of, if it was my business, or you put them lenses on,
I think it's just problem solving.
Yeah.
I think it's like nothing's ever perfect.
Yeah.
There's always an issue somewhere. You might not be able to see it.
And did you have anything like with your parents, like, into like, you sometimes see like engineers kind of have that kind of wiring or brain where.
No, my dad was a steel worker.
Right.
And my mom, she worked for the police for a period of time.
Yeah.
But doing something completely different to what I did.
Yeah.
It was just a curiosity killed the cat kind of vibe of like, why is that doing that? And why do we do that? Asking questions that realistically a lot of people aren't going to tell you the answers to, but when you're asked, you're a bit like, don't really know the answer to that, so I'll find out.
It's just funny because you've obviously gone through this like slightly different trajectory to some people that we've had on, and one thing they do tend to mention that's similar is like, attention to detail, or attention to the smaller things, and be really, fixated on getting that right.
Yeah.
And typically front end all goes, should all run smoothly as well.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I'll be honest. The front end of things, how things visually look, is a side of it that I don't mind dabbling in. But realistically, I'm not a creative person. I'm more like an architect in the background that can build the things in the background and make it work in the long run. And a project's never just about what's happening now. It's about what's going to happen in 5 years' time.
Yeah. Cause and effect of what it is you do.
Exactly that. So like if you're seeing something like, if you've got a return system in place and you're having to hire someone to deal directly with returns, you're probably going to look to go, well, how do we fix that section? But it's like, well, how are we going to fix that section now? But how's that going to change in 5 years' time? Like, what do we expect it to look like in 5 years' time? That's across the board with any business. It doesn't matter whether you're selling something, whether you're making something, whether you're delivering something. Like, things are going to change. The world's a crazy place, and every day something's happening that's going to put a little.
There's usually a nice little surprise in there somewhere. Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
And I think part of like, having left super dry. I think I left in 2015. I actually went into a business it was a startup, and it was teaching kids how to skate.
Yeah.
But I wasn't teaching the kids to skate. I was kind of like the business development manager in the background.
Okay.
That was basically like reaching out to people like charity foundations and stuff to try and like claim money so we can deliver lessons and things.
Got you. Yeah.
And we did a lot of work with
pull the funding into
yeah,
make it happen.
Exactly that. We did a big chunk of work with Sheffield United Community Foundation.
All right.
About getting a bunch of like people from areas of the city that were a little bit more less fortunate.
Yeah.
And getting them to come to a safe environment where you would have 5 or 6 people there teaching them how to skate. That was a completely different world.
Right.
That's like not logistics in the same capacity that I'm in now.
That's all. Yeah.
But having dabbled in that, it allowed me to understand a lot more of like how, corporate companies like a Sheffield United Foundation, what their tick boxes are, what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And asking the questions of like, well, what do you want me to deliver from this? And what's the end goal of what you guys want to get out of it?
I'm probably still on the flip side, building community, I guess.
Completely, yeah. The whole thing is always about like, skateboarding is very community driven.
Yeah,
Everyone knows everybody. And because of that, putting that in front of like smaller environments, it's been great. It's one of those things where out of all that time that I spent working with them younger people, seeing that a lot of them have actually stuck to it and they're in the skateboarding world now. Yeah. It's massive.
They've gone on to do some pretty cool stuff.
It's not something I directly did in terms of like, I weren't there teaching, but I helped create their starting point.
Yeah.
That's huge. And it's the same with staffing now. Like, if a member of staff wants to leave because they're going on to something bigger and better, why would you begrudge that? Like, you'd be happy for them, and you'd be like, this is a cool thing you're doing, and there's a good reason that you're doing it. Like,
still
I've done my job.
Yeah, exactly. Behind the empty spot they're leaving.
Of course. And there's always someone who needs that like next bit of nurturing.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I have had some great managers as well as some bad ones. And I think that kind of sets the example of what you want to be like. Don't think like, it's not about being strict or being laid back. It's about having empathy for people and understanding people's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, for sure. And so after that, where did you then lead to?
So that's when I started at Drop Dead.
Right.
So I started in Drop Dead in November 2017.
Got you.
And it was Black Friday.
Yeah.
And I went in just to help bag some t-shirts because they were drowning in old t-shirts that had come back from tour. My sister-in-law worked for him at the time, and I was like, look, I'll come just a couple of days just to help out. And after a couple of weeks of being there, it was like, look, we've got loads going on. Do you want to help us do this? Do you want to help us do that? And I did. I think I did about 7-8 months of like just warehouse, like helping out in the warehouse just to kind of see me over, but also like just to take a bit of a step back from being in charge of anything. Again, that reset of like understanding what each business is doing.
So after that job, what is it you then went into?
So I started next at Drop Dead in November 2017.
Yeah.
I joined literally just to help out with Black Fridays, just orders, picking, packing orders, just general warehouse stuff. Kind of like just to try and reset my brain a little bit after doing something a bit more crazy. And
it's funny because I feel like you've gone skateboarding, retail.
Just, I mean, in all honesty, I left school with no GCSEs, no qualifications, so I had to learn to rebuild my knowledge in other ways. I did go back and get my qualifications in the end, but it was one of those where school weren't the best for me. So then going further into life, it was always, I've got to work a little bit harder to get things. I self-taught myself like web design at 17 kind of thing.
Right.
Just to try and learn a skill. Taking that further forward over the next couple of years. But then also like video editing and stuff all came through skateboarding.
Right.
It teaches you so much more because you're creating content, not the same kind of content as what you're creating these days in terms of Instagram, but like long form, 40-minute videos around skateboarding and stuff was something that I was doing at the age of like 16 years old.
Yeah.
So it enabled me a lot of transferable skills, even down to when I started working at Drop Dead, the community aspect of what skateboarding was. Drop Dead's got that community aspect.
Yeah.
It's built around Ollie, who's the lead singer of Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah.
And they have their own community, which is crazy.
Right.
Millions and millions of people just like listening to his music all day, every day. So that community aspect of what Drop Dead is kind of is the same as what each skateboarding aspect of my life was previously. Yeah. You can see it whenever we do like events where we're getting people through the doors. There's a lot of people waiting for us to come and do stuff. So yeah, I started into Drop Dead. And
what was the actual job? Just
I guess at that point it was just picker and packer.
Yeah.
I'd known the guys who owned it for a long time before. I grew up with Ollie's younger brother, Tom. He skated with me. So yeah, I kind of just went to help out. And it weren't even like a job as such. It was like, there were no contract, there were no like hiring or firing. It was just like, yeah, just come and help out for a couple of days.
Right.
Did that like for about 6-7 months before I then got offered to go back to my old job at South Yorkshire Police.
Yeah.
The job was pretty much the same as what I was doing before, but just a little bit more involved with the actual training aspect. And I remember saying to my mum, I was like, oh, I think I'm going to stay at Drop Dead. And my mum was like, but you've got good income, good job waiting for you. Why would you do that? I was like, just feel like there's something here. There's something going on. And Drop Dead at that time was in a period of change. We were moving from like band merch kind of things more to fashion.
Got you.
And there were a change starting to happen. At the time, Drop Dead had a bit of a restructure.
Yes.
And when that restructure happened, there were thoughts of me leaving anyway because there just weren't really the need for another picker and packer. But instead, I ended up staying. And when I ended up staying, I ended up looking after a bit more of the warehouse in terms of like other revenue streams. So Drop Dead is a clothing company by all intents and purposes. But we operate as a third-party logistics as well at the moment, we're at 12 brands.
Oh, right.
And they are like other bands, other clothing companies, and basically friends and family of the band as well. So that was kind of like starting up as I started, and we'd got like 2 other companies we were working for. So I started looking after a bit more of their kind of side of things. Yeah. So around 2019, I'd started like we'd done a load of jobs for like third party people. We worked with a WMS, warehouse management system at the time, and we actually ended up taking on some of their third party logistics stuff as well. And it was a completely new setup. We basically were another warehouse for them as well as doing our normal jobs, and there were only 2 of us in the warehouse at the time.
Right.
So we'd got our 3 companies, but then we'd taken on 6 companies on a completely separate system.
Yeah.
That were very different to our third-party logistics stuff, because ours were very much, we'll just do what we can. Theirs was, you've got 12 hours to deal with the delivery.
Right.
You've got to scan and pick and pack all these things. And it was chaos. We got a delivery from a brand that actually I saw in Selfridge just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
And this delivery was 10 pallets. All in all, it was about 40,000 units of stock. We couldn't, if we stayed up all night, we couldn't have scanned all that delivery in within our SLA.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't even know what an SLA was.
Yeah.
So we had this like kind of conversation about, well, can we actually do this? Is it cost effective? I think it was like 6p a unit that we scanned would be what we would be getting paid for, which sounds nothing, but actually when you're doing 40,000 units, it worked out quite good for the company. We were then at a position where it was like, well, actually, we haven't got the manpower to do our own jobs because we're doing this other stuff. And we ran it for probably about 8 months of was running for this other company as well as ourselves. And the decision was made by the managing director at the time just to be like, it's not working. It's not bringing in enough money to justify taking on another member of staff.
Yeah.
And myself and the other lad couldn't handle it. That takes us to like the beginning of 2020, which was COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We sat there when COVID happened, and there was a conversation of, we're going to close the business because everyone's got to go home, be safe. And myself and Dan, the other warehouse lad, we were like, we can still do orders. Like, we can deal with this. Like, it's a big building. There's no one in here.
Yeah.
We'll just come in on ourselves and we'll just do the orders for what we're doing. So we would go in 3 days a week, separate days each. So we were all ever in there on our own.
Oh, right.
But at that point, I think that was the first time where we showed our true leadership skills of being like, no, we can do this. Like, we don't have to close the business. We saw that thing of like, we want to work hard for the business rather than just close it and get the furlough pay. At the end of the day, like, we could have quite happily sat at home and done nothing. But because we did that, it was a big change to the business and it was a change in direction. At that time, Brexit was just happening.
Yes.
I didn't understand what Brexit meant.
Yeah.
In terms of like how it would impact such a logistics side of things. So I remember I think it was the 1st of January 2020 where like Brexit had happened and we didn't know how to ship into Europe. Bearing in mind that only 30% of Drop Dead's market is the UK.
Yeah.
70% is worldwide.
Right.
And we'd got 30% going into Europe. And it was like, right, okay, how on earth do we do this? No one else wanted to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I remember like the next 3 days, I think it was like the 2nd, 3rd and 4th of January, I was in calls day in, day out with different couriers being like, what are we doing? How do we fix this?
Yeah.
Like, what can I do to make sure that our goods get through? And we started working with new couriers. So at that point, we'd been working with like Royal Mail only.
Yeah.
We really needed to step up what we were doing because otherwise we were losing 30% of our market.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a business really that can justify losing such a big market of its business. Yeah. So we somehow, I can't remember which company it were, we somehow managed to get everything free flowing. And it was like goods were going out the door. And then in September of 2020, COVID restrictions lifted for a brief period. And I'd gone on holiday with my wife. And the day that we flew back, we were told we had to quarantine on arrival back in. So having 2 weeks away from the office, having just been on holiday for 2 weeks, can imagine that people weren't very happy.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'll take it as annual leave. It's fine. Like, I'll do it as. And the next day, our director at the time phoned me and was like, oh, would you mind just looking at this? I was like, yeah, I can do. So I jumped on my computer and she phoned me again about 20 minutes later. She's like, I've been thinking, do you want to take on the ops manager's job? I was like, what does it entail? I didn't know at this point what I kind of was doing. She was like, well, it's pretty much everything that you've been doing for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, right, okay. She's like, you'll just be looking after all the ins and outs of how things work. So at that point, I was like, okay, I'm in this job. I've only got one member of staff under me, so I weren't really too worried.
Yeah.
Orders were like coming in. We kind of got past the COVID era and we were starting to like ramp up things ready for Christmas period of 2020, which turned out to be a really good winter for us anyway. Just we'd kind of rebuilt that community aspect of what Drop Dead was throughout COVID with weekly drops centered around like individuals' graphics and things. And we kind of like touched back on where Drop Dead started back in 2004.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you talk about COVID and you talk about Brexit, like the thing for me is you're a brand built around fans and community. Obviously, COVID killed that. But then, did you guys see the surge most other online ecom brands saw during COVID, or did you guys take a dip?
We saw a surge, but in a completely different way. Yeah. Most companies were out there making like loungewear, so like your joggers and your hoodies, but we didn't have that kind of product. We had t-shirts. We were a t-shirt brand first and foremost, so we would be ordering from like companies and be like, right, okay, well, we want this kind of t-shirt. Can you make it? How fast can you get it to us?
Yeah.
And then because we were printing in-house, we would launch a product on a Friday, and it would be a throwback product from 2007.
Yeah.
Which then regenerated this community base that we had.
Okay.
And it worked. It worked really well for us in a sense of that forums and stuff were going, they were busy with people talking about what Drop Dead was doing again.
Yeah. Sort of selling nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Exactly that. And because we had such a tight team of people, I would go in on the Monday, then you'd have another person go in and print t-shirts on a Tuesday, then the other guy from the warehouse would go in on a Wednesday and start shipping it. Customer service was all being handled by myself and the other guy in the warehouse as well at this point, because we weren't that busy. Like in terms of if I'm not in the office on a Wednesday because he was in the warehouse and we're obviously social distancing, I would do the customer service. Yeah. So it kind of worked, and it actually worked better because we weren't having to pay all the staffing fees because A, you've got COVID, but B, we're also in a position where the staffing isn't as high because we're not doing the volumes of what we were doing for all the other brands. Around like the whole idea of like building t-shirts, it then gave us the idea for the winter collections, and we could do some things what we've not done in a long time because we've got this like new spurge of creativity from the brand. So we kind of like got to 2020, like the end of 2020, and I'd taken on a fair bit more responsibility, but I didn't understand what that responsibility were. Yeah. You know, things like customer service. I've done a bit of customer service in the past, like over email and stuff, but then I'd like look at the emails and we'd have 300 emails every day. And like, well, what are these emails? Why are we getting 300 a day? Wow. Yeah. And after the first, probably by April 2021, we'd got emails down to like 35 a day. Right. Which was a huge impact to the amount of staff that we needed on customer service. And things started to turn. We started to be like, right, well, in customer service, we've cut our costs, so we're actually making money again. Yeah. This went on within the warehouse, within returns, within all these aspects.
I guess with CS, was it a lot of just missing items or late delivery?
Exactly.
Things like
it was like, where's my order?
Got you.
And a lot of that is because for a period of time, we were sending things untracked. Right. Which in international orders, why would we be sending things untracked? So again, one of my first things I did under the ops manager side of things was swap that out. Everything went tracked, which reduced probably 75% of them tickets straight away.
But delivery cost to customer went up slightly.
It did. Yeah. But we were also, prior to me coming in, we were giving free delivery away, free returns, free exchanges. Wow. And for certain countries, we were paying their duties and taxes.
And were they doing that thing that you mentioned earlier? Were they accounting for that in the cost of products?
No. Right. At that point, it was just a case of we're just making clothes. Yeah. We're making clothes and we get them out of the door. We didn't think about it.
Passion projects.
Yeah. So very quickly sat down and went, okay, well, we're doing all these 3PL things. Surely we know how much we're charging each of these people for the shipping. Turns out we didn't. Turns out we didn't know what we were spending. And my first real proper project was to overhaul how we would build for the third-party logistics side of things, in terms of like, if company A has spent X amount on shipping this month, how much are we getting paid back from it as Drop Dead? Yeah. So I sat there, I remember one day sitting there with Royal Mail invoices and not knowing how to figure out, well, DEU, which is Germany, is like £6.50 for the parcel, and then it was £5 per kilo. I'm like, I've got to do this for every country. It took me about 3 weeks to put a document together that said, this is how much each company's spent. Yeah. And I think the first time I did it, it was like £12,000. To me, at £12,000, I was like, that's nearly someone's wage for a year. Yeah. And that's in a month. Like we need to be doing this all the time. At the same time, we didn't really know what we were paying to other couriers.
Yeah.
So we had a reset on most couriers, went back to just being like the basics. Over the past 3 years of me being there, we tried different things, but nothing really ever stuck. It was all just like, we'll try this, we'll give this a go. I remember trying one courier once, and out of 1,000 parcels, I think they lost 400 of them.
Wow.
And we had to put a claim in for every single one.
Wow. Everything in my being wants you to tell me who the courier was. But
it was Hermes.
It was Hermes.
And I can say that because Hermes aren't a thing anymore. It's now Evra.
Yeah.
But they are completely different companies now.
Yeah.
Back then, it was so hard to try and justify a change because we made a mistake, and that mistake burned us to some extent.
How long did you stick with them?
3 months.
3 months. Okay. Yeah.
3 months, and within the first month, they'd lost nearly half of the parcels.
Right.
And to all of us at that point, we were all like, how are we going to fix this? Because that's huge to the brand. Mm-hmm. Money goes out the window. It's like you've got 150 customers or 300 customers all going, where's my order?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden your tickets are increasing, your customer frustration's increasing. You know, everyone knows that Trustpilot's a place where people go to leave bad reviews. No one ever goes and leaves a good review. Like,
not unless it's manufactured.
Exactly. So it's one of those where it's like, well, we need to make sure that us as a company nurture that community.
Yes.
And apologize, fix it, do whatever we can in our power. And it's the thing of like, the customer is always right. Well, in that situation, every single customer was right to be angry.
Yeah.
And we had to fix it, and we had to do whatever we could. So it was like, we'll get discounts out. We basically like worked backwards on these orders to try and like refulfill them with different products because that collection had been and gone. We kind of like moved on. It was hard because you never want to see your customers kind of get irate and upset.
Yeah.
But it was out of our hands.
Do you think it worked? Like, do you think the offering, the freebies, the discounts, do you think that worked?
I think being honest worked.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same in any business. If you're honest to a customer and say, look, that shouldn't have happened. This is what we're going to do to ensure it doesn't happen again, but to make your life better, this is how we want to help you.
Yeah.
That's going to change anything. I recently had an experience with a company that I love the brand, and I had the worst customer experience. Yeah. And because I had that worst customer experience, I will not buy online with them again.
Yeah.
I'll still buy because I like the brand, but I'll buy in a store.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. It's like that customer experience.
Yeah.
From the point of them purchasing.
Who's the brand?
I can't say. Okay. I could say, but I'm not going to because I don't think it's fair on them.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they'd be aware of like how bad that system is in place.
It's the thing with the Hermes, everything, like, we can say it with grace because like every logistics company has these issues.
Of course.
And every brand probably goes through that transformation of delivering better customer experience.
But I think there's a thing of the bigger you get, the less you care about the customer experience.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I think you get to the top end, you get to your your luxury brands.
Yeah.
I think customer experience is a completely different experience.
Yeah.
And that's to some extent like we have a store in Sheffield for Drop Dead, and it's called the Morgue. We've built this like eerie space where we've got like clothes hanging from chains, and we've got like a not a body bag, like the drawers that you pull out in the morgue.
Yeah.
So we've got those built into the walls, and that's where your order comes from.
Oh, right.
And the idea is obviously it's more of a luxury experience, and it's more of like a white glove kind of experience.
Yeah.
And that store does incredibly well because it's not just a shop. It's that like
they're going in to interact with the space. Almost.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, isn't it? It's like the customer experience is what's going to keep people coming back.
Yeah.
But them speaking about the experience that they've had is what's going to bring new people in.
Do you think there'll be more, do you think there's going to be more morgues opening? Or
it's a hard one because we don't do B2B.
Got you. We
only do B2C as a company. And that's a lot to protect ourselves. We've kind of seen that customers react differently when they're speaking to us to what they do if they're speaking to another company kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if we was to sell to another store, it might not get the same level of customer service that we would give.
Got you.
Customer service for me is like the hugest thing, even in terms of like couriers. The level of customer service that they would give to my customer has to be right. If my customer contacts them about a missing order rather than contacting me, I need to be aware that they're going to answer it in the best way possible.
Yeah,
because it's people's money. Like,
and
people are scared of spending.
It's one of those things that, like, that order could be making their week or month, or it could be a gift.
Present. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's always the thing of like, you don't know what people are going through.
Yeah,
and you don't know how much they've saved to spend on that thing that you're trying to ship across the world. Or so having couriers you believe in is a huge part of it. Like, if you can't trust your courier that you're shipping with, you've got an issue. And there's many couriers out there that are great at what they do, and there's some that are great in some areas and not in others. You should never, in my opinion anyway, you should never have all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
you should always be like, well, actually they're good at this, so let's leave them doing that and move on to this person doing this one. It's the same with people doing a job for me. Like, in terms of Drop Dead, my strengths aren't in designing products, so why would I try and design a product? It'd be wasteful of the brand's money. It's the same with people who are good at designing clothes. They're probably not really good at seeing an invoice and going, oh, how do we pay this week? I think that's human nature. I think the more that we understand what each person is capable of, the better things will be for everybody.
Were you responsible? Because I know you said you're 30% domestic, 70% international. Were you responsible for the go-to-market strategy internationally? Like, did you?
I wasn't.
Okay.
Drop Dead's always been super lucky that with the band as their kind of like leading thing.
Right.
The band is what's brought people to Drop Dead over the last 22 years now.
Yeah.
So from the very start, the brand always had like presence in the US.
Got you.
Even now, for example, the guys are on tour in America, and I can see orders coming in daily from parts of America where they are. Or people who are ordering now for a show that's upcoming in 3 weeks' time because they want to wear some new merch to the show. But what I am responsible for is making sure that each of those markets are profitable when shipping.
Yeah.
Making sure that them customers have a way of getting their goods back to us if there is an issue. And making sure realistically that the goods are here to sell. Yeah. I think that's a hard one to always overlook, is the shipping that comes into us and going out from us is two very different things, and both handled very differently, especially from like warehousing side of things.
And is there any countries that, let's say, the band hasn't led or toured in, but you still actually have created a presence in that country?
Band are way bigger than anything that I could ever do. They're a huge band that, realistically, they have traveled the world and they put shows on all over. We actually did a thing, December 2022. We did a pop-up store in Japan. Now, the creative director at the time and myself, we kind of led the way in making sure that the goods were all moving over in the right way and setting up the store out there. So it was kind of like in keeping with what we were doing. And it was like the same kind of vibe as like yourself, which was in the UK. So we worked a lot of like the negotiations in the background of like, okay, well, Japan's a market that is incredible. They are so far ahead of the curve in so much. Drop Dead kind of suits their world because it's very like video game orientated. So we did a lot of work with those guys to try and do something which was really well received. Like it worked out great for us. And again, we don't ever want to go and be like, right, we're going to sell to a store full time. But we always want to do more of those kind of things where it's like we want to set something up into a country and go, well, we want to nurture the community that is there already.
And you mentioned earlier about, one of the first things you did was just reset, I guess, across all couriers that you used. How did you run the process, and what was your think on it in terms of, the procurement of your different carrier partners?
Do you know what's really hard is everyone will come to you and say, I can cut your costs.
Yeah.
Cutting costs doesn't mean anything if the level of service isn't going to be there.
Yeah.
For me, one of the first questions that I always ask, and anyone that's spoke to me from a courier perspective will always say to me, from a customer service point of view, if I contact you with a ticket, how's that ticket dealt with? Because if my warehouse team or my customer service team emails them and I don't get an email for 5 days, I've got a customer left in the balance for 5 days going, what's going on?
Completely in the
That's
dark.
not acceptable. And I don't care about you saving £10 for that parcel. Realistically, you've cost me more because I've sent that parcel out.
Yeah.
And that customer's not coming back because he's had a bad level of service.
Mishandled, yeah.
So from a courier aspect, it's always been about what's going to happen if that parcel gets lost. How are we going to fix it and how long is that going to take?
Mm-hmm.
Cost is all well and good. Obviously, there's some couriers out there that have a lot of hidden surcharges. And I've been stung with them as well. It's a learning curve.
Where do they get hid?
There's certain ones where it's like a remote area surcharge, but it could be anywhere in the US.
Right.
Like central New York, remote area surcharge. It's like, it's not remote at all. You can clearly walk to it. And to them, a remote area surcharge is actually anything that's not registered as a business address.
Right, okay.
Which is like, it's not remote. Like you're claiming the wrong thing. And I've seen it on a lot of invoices. And I always make sure that when I'm negotiating any kind of contract, the main thing is like, there's no minimum.
Yeah.
I would rather pay more and have no minimum and make sure that I can walk away tomorrow.
Yeah.
Than put a minimum
Hold
in
yourself
place and go, all right, I'm stuck in this for 12 months.
Yeah.
And it's going to end up costing me more money in the long run.
Has there ever been a time where you've agreed a minimum and
No.
it's bit you in the arse?
No, because the first meeting that I did when I started working at Drop Dead was a Royal Mail one where we had a minimum in place before I started.
Right.
And we didn't reach that minimum.
Got you.
And there were thousands of pounds owed back to Royal Mail.
Yeah.
That doesn't help the business.
Yeah.
That's, if anything, that's
just covers the courier.
It covers the courier and it doesn't benefit you in the slightest because, you've saved a bit of money on them parcels that you have shipped.
Yeah.
You've lost it in other ways. And in that sense, like, it doesn't matter about the cost of the product. If the product is going to get lost and you can't contact the company, pointless.
And so how long do you take if you were going to, look at running a procurement exercise, and do you do it routinely, each year and sort of what time of the year would you typically look at it?
So I'm always on the lookout.
Yeah.
Like if someone contacts me and I think this could be a good lead, I'll start the process. Doesn't matter what time of year. That's the beauty of not having contracts.
Yeah.
I can swap and turn whenever I like. And I think that's super important, especially with like things that happen in the world. Right now we've got huge things in like the US with tariffs.
Yeah.
Being able to like chop and change at that point when that all happened last year.
Yeah.
If we were tied in, we probably would have been a little bit screwed because that's 27% of our market.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden we might not be able to ship to or
held ransom to sort of tariff and duties.
Exactly that. Yeah. So being able to change is like something that I'm, if someone emailed me today and said, look, I heard that you want Italy to be better than what it is right now. You're having an issue. I'd have a conversation with that person. I'd say, well, actually, what is it that you're offering? I'd never sign straight away and I'd never do it without testing.
Yeah.
But I'd always be like open to the conversation and open to the idea of change.
Got it.
Like I say, no one should have all their eggs in one basket, especially when it comes to couriers.
Yeah.
We see it at Black Fridays with Royal Mail. The photos that happens at the Bristol sorting centre every year where there's pallets and pallets just built up and left outside for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Can't have that. Like if that's your customer in that parcel, you've got to send another one out because it's not fair on the customer.
Yeah.
But that's going to get stuck as well.
Yeah.
Always have like a plan B if something's going to go wrong with that side of things.
And have you ever, because everyone, I guess in the courier world, if I speak to a salesperson, for example, typically Q4 is a bit of a quiet one because they typically, let's call it sandbag, wait till, the peak's out of the way and then brand new account hits and commissions flying for them. But like, have you actually ever changed couriers in peak?
Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah. Quite often.
Yeah.
I think I've done it about 3 times now.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because
I by the point I'm coming to make that decision, I've done my due diligence in terms of like looking at what's actually going to happen if I do this. I've done my testing. I've sent 10 parcels over the past like 2 months and watched how they've gone through the system.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the couriers that I've got at the moment, we moved 2 of those in peak.
Oh, right.
And we actually moved a lot of business to them in peak because it was all about Europe mail.
Right.
Which we know it's 30% of our stuff that goes out of the door.
Yeah.
And the reason for that was simple. It was like, I did my testing. They were delivering 4 days ahead of the person previously.
Yeah.
And the customer service was great. If they can do it at peak, they can do it all year round.
Yes.
And if I noticed after a week of it
almost stress tested it.
Exactly that. I'd never go into something blind. I think if you go into something blind, you should expect to be burnt.
Yeah.
But realistically, like, we all have enough time to make a decision, but make it properly. If you've got to rush something like that, where's the other problem? Because there's another problem somewhere down the line that we kind of need to look at first.
So then when you've said no to, let's say you've said you've tested and you've said no to someone. Yeah. Like, what was that experience and what happened for you to say no to them? So
January last year, I actually started working with one company, and I did the usual thing of like go on LinkedIn and be like, look, I'm looking for someone who can do this.
Yeah.
And my inbox was destroyed. I think within like 24 hours, I've got 200 emails and messages on LinkedIn from people who I already had accounts with saying, oh yeah, we could make an account for you. I'm like, I already ship with you. Oh, do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. We end up.
It's a good way to become a LinkedIn influencer.
Honestly,
post that.
I don't get how these people don't understand that. Like, I work with you already.
Yeah.
Why would I start a new contract on something different? And it's fun though, because it's like one of those where you get people coming out of the woodwork who you worked with 3 years ago, and you weren't happy with the service then, but they're like, yeah, but things have changed.
Yeah, there's a big story.
Some might have, but overall, it's one of those where it's like, if you try something, if someone comes back to me and they're like, things have changed, all right, I'll give you 10 parcels a week. I want to see how they work for the next month. There's no harm in that. End of the day, if you get all 10 of them parcels delivered, you're in a better position.
Yeah.
If you get one going missing, you know that 10% of your market is going to be suffering and it's a good way of like figuring it out.
Yeah.
You're not in any contract. You're not got any minimums. It's not going to hurt you. End of the day, if your parcel gets lost tomorrow, I can send you a new one.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I've got that covered on one person. If I've got it on 1,000 parcels, it's completely different.
Risk is away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, last January we actually had this. We had this courier. They'd come to me through LinkedIn. They were like, we can do exactly what you're asking. It's like, right, let's go for it. And I did 3 months of just 20% of my US market. And first 2 or 3 weeks were all right. It was looking good. And things started to quickly escalate to be bad. And it was like, I'd get on a weekly meeting with them and they would be like, yeah, this system's not working, so you can't track that parcel. Whoa. This went on for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I'd reduced myself down to like 5% of our market. So by the end of it, they'd got rid of the person that had brought the account in.
Right.
Because something weren't going right, clearly. And I'm left with this new person that's like, I don't know why you've been sold this thing, because this isn't ready for market. We can't do this. And I was like, I'll just walk away then.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but what about if we do this for you? Like, no. Like, I'm not running another risk. You've failed.
Yeah.
And I actually got an email from them asking for a undeliverable invoice from March last year. And I got this invoice about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was for £6.10.
Oh my God.
And I just was like, what even parcel is this for? And when was it shipped? And they're like, oh, it's for April last year. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Why has it taken over 12 months to send me an invoice for something? Oh, we've only just found it.
No way.
Well, I'm not going to be coming back to you again anytime soon, am I, guys?
Yeah.
But again, when it comes to things like that, I've got to do what's right for the business.
Yeah.
I think it's unfair on anybody who gets a bad reputation for being a little bit harsh in them situations. At the end of the day, we're all in it to make sure that things are going right.
Yeah, no, for sure. And have you had any like 3PL, warehousing? Because you mentioned you've got multiple brands that sort of feed in.
Yeah.
Have you had any major issues with that transition of more brands coming into the warehouse? Obviously, Drop Dead Clothing are growing. Has there been operationally sort of issues, and what have they looked like?
Do you know what? I think the hardest issue is prioritizing people and making sure that every brand feels like they are being looked after properly. We've had a brand leave us before, and they actually came back to us 12 months later.
Yeah.
We've had a brand come on, work with us for 2 years, and then be offered something better somewhere else. Right. That's business. Yeah. I'm not taking offense to that person that leaves us. They've gone on to something bigger and better, probably, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's fine. The hard thing is if they don't feel they're getting the level of service from myself and the team that they need.
Mm-hmm.
That was especially hard when there were just 2 of us in the warehouse running this.
Yeah.
Now I think we have a team of like 8 people who deal with all this side of stuff, and they're really good at like, okay, job's coming, we're going to have it fixed within 48 hours, or, we're going to jump on that straight away.
Yeah.
If someone phones me and says, oh, we wanted to launch this, can we do it? I'll be super honest with them and be like, at the moment, we don't have the manpower.
Yeah.
Give us a week and we're ready for it. We're quite good in the fact that we can be reactive though. Like the worst case scenario, I have to jump off what I'm doing to go and help someone for an hour and bag some t-shirts.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like if someone's going to make some money out of it, in which case I make money out of it for Drop Dead in the long run.
Yeah.
It's always a benefit.
Worth doing.
I think if they've ever had an issue and they've come to me, it's just a case of like, well, how would you want it to be seen?
Yeah.
This is what I can do. This is what I can deliver. Never oversell myself.
Yeah.
Because you're setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
Be honest.
And have you ever had to say no to certain brands for stocking their items?
I have a friend who I've known for like 25, 30 years, and he started something a couple of months ago. Well, about 2 years ago. And his merch is doing fairly well for himself. And he was like, would you do it? And I just had to say like, no, because it's not beneficial to him, but it's also not beneficial to me. Like, I need to see some income coming back, and if they're not reaching the minimums, then I'm going to charge him more, which is never good.
Yeah. And what kind of products was it?
Just apparel, just clothing. Okay. But there's no benefit if the stock's going to sit in a box and not go out. Yeah. For Drop Dead, space isn't endless.
Yeah.
And we don't charge per pallet space what they use, and we charge differently based on what they sell and what we're doing for them.
Got you.
But in that kind of situations, sometimes it's more that it's better for the company that's coming to us. Mm-hmm. It's actually better for them to do it a different way.
Yeah.
I've had another company that come to us a couple of months ago, and I said, look, you're actually better off going and working with this fulfillment center because they can do much higher volumes than we can, and you fit better with them. They can get your goods to X, Y, and Z probably faster than we can.
Yeah.
Because I've got to be honest and say, I have a team of 8 people. Yeah. They have a team of 800 people.
Yeah. There's going to be a difference of service.
Of course. Yeah. And I have a great relationship with like people like that who come to me, and I'm honest with them.
Yeah.
It's not about not wanting to do it for any personal reasons. It's business.
Yeah. And what, I guess, given that you've been on that journey, what do you think sort of the next phase for Drop Dead looks like in terms of strategy, in terms of growth? Where do you see the brand going?
So we're in a really good position at the moment in terms of like, we have some really cool collaborations coming up over the next 3 years. We've got like 3 really big collaborations that we'll be rolling out. Mm-hmm. that alone is like huge for us. They're things that are close to all of our hearts.
Right.
I know that Ollie is really excited by it, and it's going to be big enough that it allows us to do things around the edges.
Yeah.
One of the things that obviously it's hard for us to do, but we need to do is look at how we enter the US market very differently with everything that's gone on in the last 12 months. Mm-hmm. Going to a 3PL is not our kind of vibe because we want to keep control of everything that we do.
Yeah.
So then it's like, well, we may end up setting our own up out there and having the own control ourselves. Obviously, that then allows the tariffs to be lower for the customers buying in the US.
Have you looked into the state you'd go to if you're going to open up? Or?
We've not, but we kind of have an idea based on like that community aspect.
Right.
So the community aspect tells us where a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And most of our market in the US is out towards the west side.
Oh, is it?
So it's more of a where it's going to be better for getting the right people to do the jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of people that work for Drop Dead are fans of the band and fans of the brand over the years. So having them people, they're part of that community. So they can help build it bigger and better. But we also want to do it in Europe as well, because there's some big changes coming to the European like duties and tax system over the next couple of months, and kind of got to see forward. And
and when you mention collaboration, what do you mean by that? Like, what will you be doing to
for example,
collaborate?
Drop Dead, over the past 20 years, we've done collaborations with Game of Thrones, HBO.
Oh, right.
We've done Junjito, which was our most recent one, which is an anime kind of comic. Jurassic Park, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Done loads. Itchy and Scratchy.
Yeah.
So we've always kind of like looked for these kind of collaborations.
Got you.
The three that we've agreed to recently are the biggest.
Really?
In terms of like the world in which we're in.
Yeah. Sort of feeds into that nostalgia element again.
Massively. Yeah. And it's always hard when you're approaching these collaborations because you don't want to be held back by asset management. So for a lot of it, like if you're doing the itchy and scratchy stuff like all them years ago when we did, a lot of that is you want to use Simpsons kind of vibes, but you weren't allowed to do everything with the Simpsons. You have to be very cautious to stick to like the itchy and scratchy world.
Yeah.
And it's the same for all of them kind of collaborations we've done. Jurassic Park, there were only certain things that we could do.
Yeah.
The ones that we've agreed to, we've got pretty good control of everything that we can do.
Pretty open.
And it allows us to be really adventurous with what we're doing. And bring some amazing like creative community events with it. Yeah. So part of like everything that we're looking at the moment is rebuilding that community to an extent where they can meet up in person. Since COVID, meeting up in person's been a bit weird for our customers because they are all over the world. We now have the morgue, and we do want to see that morgue dressed differently for these collaborations as well. Yeah. I think it'll be a really cool couple of years for us in terms of those side of things.
And is the company driven financially? I.e., like, there's a massive community feel to it. There's a massive drive, to build that. But like, has it been a case where, you've been told, look, we're at 5 million, we want to get to 10 million? Or
do you know what? About 18 months ago, I sat and we had a conversation about this is where we want to be. And it was quite easy to be like, well, we can only get to that if we change a few things. Do you want to change that, or do you want to, go for what we're doing and do it well? Yeah. We all collectively made the decision that actually we want to do what we're doing and do it well. So there's not a figure that I have to get to keep my job in that sense. Got you. But I'm very lucky in the sense of the guys are creative in themselves and they want to do something which is cool. I then probably do the pushing the most to be like, we're not where we need to be, guys. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to get this through the door? Yeah. Whether that be, meta ads or whether that be like we launched a mobile app a few years ago. That now drives 30% of our market. Really? We've got push notifications going out direct to those customers. Yeah. They choose to listen to them push notifications. So
You've opted in.
Aspects like that is stuff where, from the director's side of things, they're not pushing, I want big numbers.
Yeah.
But I'm pushing, I want big numbers. I want us all to do better.
With meta ads, like how much would you say you spend on meta ads?
At the moment, we're only spending about 12 grand a month.
A month, right?
Yeah. We've struggled over the last couple of years because I'm scared of spending other people's money.
Yeah.
Which is mental because
probably makes you great for the job though.
Yeah, you've got to spend money to accumulate money in some sense.
Yes.
But knowing for the years of like, we were spending money on things we didn't need, like having to like readjust myself to be like, no, we can spend this money to do this.
Yeah.
It's been hard.
Yeah.
But that's a lesson where I've had to learn it myself. This isn't about like the business ones. It's about me letting go a little bit, be like, no, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And even the position I'm in right now, I have to learn every day. Like I have to put a different hat on when I'm thinking about production, you know. iOSS. I never even knew about iOSS until I had to sit and read 100 documents about what it were and what I was signing up for and how it works in the long run. So, and there's going to be something new in 3 months' time that I don't understand again.
Yeah.
And I've got to learn it. If I stop evolving, I think that's when I've got to like go, right,
definitely,
I'm done.
Yeah.
But I don't think I ever will. I think my brain is just functioned to always look for the next thing.
Yeah. And do you think that's down to the company that you're in because it's constantly providing you with sort of challenges, or do you feel there's almost a self-development thing in you?
Definitely self-development. Yeah. Like I'm a little bit of one of those kind of people that I will listen to podcasts about something that doesn't even fit into my world.
Yeah.
You know, there's a big conversation at the moment about agentic storefronting.
Yeah.
I don't think that is right for Drop Dead because Drop Dead customers come to Drop Dead for graphic heavy visuals.
Yeah.
Agentic's never going to be graphic heavy.
Yeah.
It's going to be text box typing or speaking to it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that kind of thing is for Drop Dead. But I've spent many of hours looking at how it works, what we could do, how it would fit into us. And there is something planned in the long run.
Yeah.
But it's not something I'm going to jump on tomorrow.
And so how much do you feed into the vision of, you know, future of things that are happening within Drop Dead versus, say, the creative, you know, director or
so
the
like
owners?
Every collection that we do, it starts off with like me and my production manager sitting there going, what is this collection going to look like? How many items are we going to have?
Yeah.
All that happens prior to it even going to the creative team. The creative team then get it after saying this is how many things that we need.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of, not control, because it's not controlling in the slightest. It's more just like, this is what I would do, and I think this is what's best for business.
Yeah.
And every time we have a collection and we launch it, 2 weeks and 4 weeks and 6 weeks after, we do reviews, and it's me doing that review. It's me going in and going, well, actually, we can see that this vest didn't sell very well, so let's stay away from this kind of vest and let's do this kind of thing. And the creative team are really receptive to that. They're really like, okay.
It must be pretty cool to say, you know, you've had an idea, you've pumped, you know, you've decided to run with it, and then 6 weeks later, there's been a
don't get me wrong, right?
uptake, or
there's been things where I've said, I don't think that's going to work. And I've been wrong.
Right.
Like, and I'm the first person to be like, well, I was wrong about that, so let's do it again. And I think always being able to say that you're wrong is a huge thing that can only benefit business.
Could you give us an example on what?
The morgue.
Oh, right.
When the morgue was being built, I was very much like, we've had shops before.
Yeah.
They weren't really profitable. Like, it's a bit of a waste of money.
Yeah.
And last year it was 8-9% of our annual turnover for the year.
Oh, right.
In a store in Sheffield.
That comes as its restrictions, I guess. It? But,
we have people traveling. Like, we had customers in from Mexico.
Wow.
And they came over. They flew into Manchester Airport, spent a day in Manchester. They came over to Sheffield and spent a day in Sheffield, and then went back to Mexico.
No way.
And they came for that store.
Yeah.
So at that point, I remember sitting in the thing after the first year, sitting in the meeting room with everyone, being like, I have to be honest, guys. I was wrong. Like, this is working, and how can we expand it? And I actually went to, in January this year, I went to Abu Dhabi. And it was eye-opening because it was a luxury brand experience it was called Shop Talk Lux. And a lot of the conversations there were in regards to Chanel or Vera Wang, and all these people were saying about how the world's changing, but not how you think it is. It's not all about e-commerce. Retail is coming back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, the guy who said about the morgue originally was right. Like he's 2 years ahead of what's happening. So then I've come back and I'm like, right, how do we expand this space? Yeah. How do we make it even bigger and better than what we have been doing? And we've got like a little thing that's ongoing at the moment of we're building like a design your own t-shirt from all our old archive graphics.
Oh, cool.
But it's going to be a built-in cryo chamber in the Drop Dead shop that is going to allow you to take graphics from the last 20 years, put it onto t-shirts.
That sounds sick.
Write all over it, do whatever you want with it, press order. Yeah. And then 10 minutes later, you'll be able to watch through the window as the guys are printing your t-shirt.
That is sick.
And it'll be completely one-off to you kind of thing. So even that side of it, it's the next level of seeing that we said about it earlier, the white glove experience of luxury.
Yeah.
How can Drop Dead do that?
Yeah.
Like, how do we make it so it's not just you coming and buying a t-shirt like off the shelf?
Yeah.
You know, the warehouses at the back of the store, everything. Like you can walk around around the store and see all the design team working in the office. You'll even see me sat there, probably pulling the last bit of my hair out in that sense. So that's something that needs changing or something that we're working on. And that to a customer is a massive experience. Like they get to see everything in action. And I think that's huge. I think
massive.
I think we're coming to a world now where we've spent that much time on our phones that interaction that we have in a store actually means a lot more than what it did 5 years ago.
Way more valuable.
Yeah. Because if you get someone who's super knowledgeable about what they're selling, it's completely different to if you just walked into a store and they're just like, can I help you?
Yeah, I love them like product geeks in a way that they know everything. And it's like, I'd have actually come away without what I was coming for had it not been for you, or, you know, or you've solved the problem because you give me way more information than I needed.
Have you ever walked into a store and been like, I want X, but walked out with Y?
Yeah.
They're the best ones because you don't know what you want until someone tells you, well, actually, this is perfect for you.
Yeah.
I had a great experience recently in a perfume shop. I was like, I really like this aftershave.
Yeah.
And the lady was like, have you smelled this one? And I was like, no, I haven't. She's like, pass me your wrist. She went, go away, come back in 2 hours. So I went away and I'm walking around and I'm like, I can smell that on me.
Yeah.
I was like, I want that. So I went back 2 hours later and I was like, you sold it to me.
Yeah.
And she probably upsold me an extra £30.
Yeah.
But I got something at the end of that I was so happy with that I will go back to that shop again.
Yeah.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Definitely.
Yeah, they made £30 off me, but actually they've made me a returning customer.
Yeah.
And anyone who doesn't nurture that returning customer and just goes for the new customer, that's a losing battle to some.
Sunglasses was my most recent experience, but it was amazing because she basically went through the frame and what she thinks looks good on me, and there might have been an element of just her telling me things look good on me. I was enjoying it, but you know, she walked me through it, and then I think there just wasn't a pair that essentially got me. And she was like, look, there's a Harvey Nicks, there's a Selfridges, the range is wider, but if you do ever want to, you know, come back or whatever. And it was like, nice sense of integrity. And I got a pair from Harvey Nicks in the end, you know, but like it.
But yeah, you remember the response from that person rather than the experience that you had buying the actual glasses.
100%. Yeah.
So next time you buy a pair, or if you want a normal pair of lenses, are you going to go there?
Yeah.
Difference.
You know,
that person's
there's a bit of equity built up in me that says get back there and have that, you know.
And that's the same for like account management in terms of like couriers, or whether it's with like tech companies. If someone can build up that rapport and tell me exactly what I need, I'm more likely to stick with that courier or that tech company because they know me. They've taken the time out to understand what it is that is special to me or the brand in that sense. Yeah. And like overall, that delivers a better service. Yeah. End of the day, if someone tells you you're doing right, you're going to listen to them.
Yeah. And I think it probably just comes from a better place as well, you know, which for relationships probably a massive,
for sure,
you know, a massive thing. Well, if you were going to go back to when you very first started at Drop Dead Clothing and you were going to give yourself some advice, obviously looking back probably through some of the war stories and stuff, but what advice would you give yourself?
Do you know what? It's hard with the Drop Dead one. I don't know if I'd give myself advice because I think everything's been such a big learning curve that I needed to see them things happen to figure out where I were. But if I was to give myself some advice from when I had the skate shop back in 2012 or whenever it were, get someone who knows that job better than you do to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Because I weren't an expert back then.
Yeah.
And the person that I was taking leads from weren't an expert either.
Yeah.
If I would have had the people around me that I can lean on at the moment, so like my managing director, I would have been in a way better position to run that skate shop back then.
Yeah, yeah.
And I probably would have hired someone and paid them the £130 a week rather than hiring myself.
Yeah.
Because it killed the love for it and it made me not enjoy what I was doing. I think for everyone, they have to enjoy what they're doing. Otherwise, I don't think you're really going to succeed.
Yeah. No. Well, Ash, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks.
Amazing.